Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day and that you're looking after yourselves and one another. I want to welcome you all back to another installment of Live Album Spotlight. Now, I haven't done one of these in a while, and it's because of that fact and for the band that I'm covering, I've decided to turn this into a three-part episode. And the band in question is Led Zeppelin, and the album that we're going to be talking about is The Song Remains the Same. Now, just a bit of a side note, in terms of bands that have been bootlegged over the years in terms of their live recordings. You would think Led Zeppelin would be the most bootlegged band around for their live performances, seeing as how their live performances date back to 1969. But I found out about 4 years ago that Queen are, in fact, the most bootlegged band in terms of their live performances. Well, what do I know? Um, on with the show. The song remains the same. The soundtrack was released on October the 22nd, 1976, through Swan Song Atlantic Records, Swan Song being Led Zeppelin's own record label through distribution with Atlantic Records. The album was produced by Jimmy Page, who also produced all of the studio recordings. The music was recorded by Eddie Kramer and Wally Hyder using the mobile studio truck, sorry. The material for the soundtrack was mixed at Electric Lady Studios in New York City and Trident Studios in London. Upon release, the album reached number 2 in the US charts, number 8 in the Canadian charts, and number 1 in the UK charts for the years 1976 and 1977. Now, this album has had a bit of an odd, release history over the years. I purchased this album in 1987. Um, I knew of Zeppelin, obviously. I wasn't a staunch fan. I would become one later on. But I thought that when I got this album, finally I have a live recording of a complete Zeppelin show, right? 9 songs in total, lengthy, extended jams, etc. I thought, what could be better, right? Fantastic album. Found out that this was not the full set of the Zeppelin show, right? The material for the album was recorded on their Houses of the Holy North American tour, right? Uh, Fantastic album. I'll go through with it with you. The original release, again, having 9 tracks, you have Rock and Roll, Celebration Day, The Song Remains the Same, The Rain Song, that in side one. Side two, you have a blistering 26-minute, 52-second version of Dazed and Confused. Okay. Side three starts off with No Quarter and ends with Stairway to Heaven. Side four starts with Moby Dick and ends with Whole Lotta Love. Now, Zeppelin were infamous for doing extended jams, improv sections, extended drum solos, extended guitar solos, obviously, right? Ergo, a full set, but that's not the case. The original release playing time was 99 minutes and 45 seconds. Okay. I come to find out that in 2007, the surviving members of the band, Page, Plant, and Jones, had decided to take the material from the album, go back and look at the tapes, and include 6 unreleased tracks that were recorded during that tour. In fact, there were 7 tracks, one of which has never seen a light of day in terms of a live album release. And that song is Thank You. They decided to reinstate 6 tracks into the set list. Okay, I'm going to go through the full set list with you for the 2007 reissue and remastered version. And those songs are Rock and Roll, Celebration Day, Black Dog, Over the Hills and Far Away, Misty Mountain Hop. Okay, Since I've Been Loving You, a blistering 8 minute and 23 version of that song. No Quarter, right? The song remains the same. The Rain Song, The Ocean, that's track 10, end of disc 1. Also, track 3 has an intro to Bring It On Home from Zeppelin 2. Okay, that is CD 1. Okay, CD 2 starts with Dazed and Confused. Now, the 26-minute, 52-second version on the original release, takes up all of side 2. This version of Dazed and Confused clocks in at a mammoth 29-minute and 18-second version. Okay. Amazing. Following Dazed and Confused is Stairway to Heaven. After Stairway to Heaven is Moby Dick. After Moby Dick is another track that was omitted from the original release, Heartbreaker, clocking in at 6 minutes and 19 seconds. And you have a slightly edited version, literally 9 seconds edited, of Whole Lotta Love, clocking in at 13 minutes and 51 seconds. Okay. Now, when I look at this track listing, and when I compare this version to the original 1976 release, first of all, I should mention that the 2007 reissue version clocks in at 131 minutes and 55 seconds with those 6 tracks added in. When I look again at the original release from 76, and I look at the track listing for the 2007 reissue, to me, the definitive version of this package is, in fact, the 2007 reissue and remastered version, because you have Rock and Roll starts off, blistering version of it. You have John Bonham on the drums, where he counts the band in and he just goes for it at a breakneck tempo, and the band kick in and just they're in your face. Okay, then it goes into Celebration Day, right? And then Black Dog, which was again omitted from the original release. Those 3 songs are 1, 2, 3 power punch right to the gut, an assault to the senses. Okay, then they slow it down with Over the Hills and Far Away, clocking in at 6 minutes and 11 seconds. This is where the band slows down for a bit. You, as the audience, are able to catch your breath and take in what's going on. Like, you're seeing Zeppelin right in front of you, right? Possibly for the first time. So you're basically like looking and going crazy, not taking it all in at first, that you're seeing them for the first time. And it's obviously a mind-blowing experience. And they want it to be for you, right? That they've always been a band that gave you good bang for your buck. And they were always a tight-knit band. They knew how to read each other's cues musically, and they knew how to deliver a hell of a show. So after Over the Hills and Far Away, you have Misty Mountain Hop from Zeppelin 4, Untitled, from 71, which, is a fun romp, right, of a track. Next up, we go into the blues. Since I've Been Loving You, a mammoth 8 minute, 23-second version of this track. I really do not understand why this was not included on the original, but time constraints as being what they were, due to vinyl only allowing 20 minutes per side. Take from that what you will. After Since I've Been Loving You is a 10-minute, 38-second version of No Quarter. Now, if you watch the movie, each member of the band have their own section of the film where they go off into their own little sort of fantasy world, with the exception of John Bonham. John Bonham basically chose to show images of him on his farm, working his tractor, going for a drink with his friends. One of the guys kind of a situation where Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, for example, would go off on these adventures, you know, during their own sort of separate segments. No Quarter, again, clocks in at 10 minutes, 38 seconds, as I said. Beautiful work on Mellotron by John Paul Jones. Amazing. Very atmospheric, very brooding, very emotional. And the drums are just pounding away. Just amazing, right? Next up is The Song Remains the Same from Houses of the Holy, the lead-off track. Blistering version. Blistering version. The guitars kick in at a breakneck tempo, the drums come in, and you're off and running. Like just crazy, right? That segues into the Rain Song. A beautiful, emotional piece of music. The lead-off lyric, "It is the springtime of my loving, the second season I am to know." You know what I mean? Just gorgeous, very atmospheric, and just breathtaking the way they perform it. Amazing. After that, it's time to party. You hear John Bonham counting the band. 1, 2, boom, they kick into the ocean. Okay. Heavy drums, funky on some parts, just amazing, unrelenting until the very end. Okay. That's the end of the first disc. Okay. That is just disc one. Okay. At this point, you're left thinking, what the hell am I listening to? Why weren't these additional songs, these additional 6 tracks, included in the original version? It doesn't make any sense, right? Okay, pardon me. Disc 2, I'm thinking of vinyl now, but disc 2 on CD starts off with, CD2 starts off with Dazed and Confused, okay? Now, the original version on the original 76 release, that track clocked in at 26 minutes and 52 seconds. It took up all of side 2, okay? Dazed and Confused on the reissued and remastered version clocks in at a mammoth 29 minutes and 18 seconds. Okay, just breathtaking. All right, I've always loved this version of this song. I think that this is the quintessential version of Dazed and Confused. Over the years, when they would play it, it would go off into different sections. They would add in different songs like Walter's Walk, the Crunge, but which I'll get into later. But to me, this is the definitive live version of this song. Just beautiful. Air guitar experts out there, you know what I'm talking about for the solo. And you can hear when it has a very eerie aspect to it when you hear Jimmy Page using the bow on the strings of the guitar. Just beautiful. Amazing. Okay. Up next is Stairway to Heaven. Again, clocking in at like 10 minutes and 53 seconds with Robert Plant saying, this is a song of hope. And at one point he says, does anybody remember laughter? I do. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. Up next is a slightly edited version of Moby Dick. 11 minutes and 2 seconds, right? Beautiful. Just amazing. This is where John Bonham would take over on the drums, and the other members of the band would go off and do whatever it is they were going to do off stage. Okay, we won't get into that. Up next is one of the other songs that was omitted from the original release called Heartbreaker, clocking in at 6 minutes and 19 seconds. Amazing, amazing. Hard hitting, to the point, cracks you right in the ribs. They get you right where they want to have you, right? Amazing, beautiful. It ends off with a slightly edited version, like 9 seconds or something like that, of A Whole Lot of Love, clocking in at another mammoth 13 minutes and 51 seconds. And that is the album. Okay, that is what you hear on the reissued and remastered version released in 2007. Now, again, my personal preference is the full show, the 2007 reissued and remastered version over the 1976 release. Again, I do not know why they did not include these tracks. I have no, like, I don't even understand it, why they would omit them. Because for me, when you have the additional 6 tracks, bringing all of the tracks together, clocking in at 15 tracks, counting up to 15 songs, I'm sorry, you have basically all of the entire show with the omission of Thank You. You have a full, if not long, but also a full Led Zeppelin performance in its entirety, the way it was supposed to be heard. Okay. Now, over the years, Zeppelin has come out to say that this album and the music on this album, sorry, does not best represent how they were as a band at that point live. Jimmy Page in particular, who was again in charge of all the productions for all of the albums, has said that the music at this point in time on this release does not best represent Led Zeppelin as a live act. Obviously, he can say that because he helped to write and produce the music. But you know what? Let me know what you think out there. What you think. Put your comments down below. What you think of the song remains the same. Do you prefer the 1976 original, or do you prefer the 2007 remastered and reissued version? Okay. Again, there are no right or wrong answers, just opinions, right? So I want to thank you for joining me for part 1 of our of my live album spotlight series on Led Zeppelin. In episode 2, I'm going to be covering How the West Was Won, which came out in May of 2003. Okay, so please, guys, look after yourselves and one another, and I will see you soon with a new video. Before I forget, please click like and subscribe, and please hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. And again, we'll see you soon with part 2 of our live album spotlight series on Led Zeppelin. Bye for now.